Hey there, everybody. How's it going? It's a new week, and we've got some new content. It is Lion King time. Hakuna Matata, everyone. We've got a Lion King themed rescue signal. We, of course, got the pocket adventure. We'll talk a little bit about that. Battle challenge is over. Yeah, a few things to talk about this week. I'm quite excited about The Lion King, one of my favorite Disney movies. Definitely, went to see Lion King in the theaters when I was a kid, so have a bit of a nostalgic connection to that one for sure. Let's go ahead and just get straight to it, and let's talk about the new units. So there is a free unit that comes with the rescue signal. All rescue signals come with free units. I'll talk about the free unit first, which is Pumba. All right, so Jovial Grub Hunter Pumba is the free unit, and he's a healer. That's pretty much it. Like he heals. And he's not a bad healer at all. As long as you get him to LB3, to reduce the cost, he is a little bit more expensive than our other budget welfare healer, which was Magic Mini. So his SP cost is a little bit higher than Magic Mini, which I don't like, considering that he's a welfare healer, and he's not really bringing anything else to the party except for heals. Now, with that said, he is a pretty strong healer. Like that's all he does. He literally just heals the party. You get a 40% heal with a level 2 regen, which that brings it up to a 50% heal total, because a level 2 regen regenerates 10% HP at the end of the turn. And then if the rest of the party attacks 3 times, you get an extra 10%. So you can get up to a 60% heal in a turn. If you're in a situation where you're healing a lot, and you can actually stack up that HP regen up to the full level 5 heal, I think that gives you like a 20% or 25% regen, I think. So, pretty substantial if you're healing a lot. But other than that, that's all he's really doing, is he's just kind of healing. And so in that sense, I'm a little bit disappointed that he's not bringing anything else to the table. But if you're really lacking in like a good healer, maybe he's a good choice. Like if you don't have Baymax, so probably the unit that is the closest to Pumba would be Baymax, and that Baymax is just that he's just a straight up healer, right? So Baymax, not the cute floaty Baymax we got last week, like the original Premier Baymax. In that's pretty much all Baymax does, right? Is he just heals. Baymax has the stun cure, which gives him a little bit of an edge on Pumba, I think. But that just to give you some sort of comparison. There are a lot of other better healers out there, of course, like Rapunzel. I think Magic Mini personally is a better healer, just because she also brings attack and defense buffs along with her. But that's just me. But all that said, he's not a bad welfare unit. We've had worse, for sure. Now, as for the banner units, there's a clear winner. All right, we have 2 of them. You've got Pridelands Prince Simba and Savannah Philosopher Timon. And there is definitely a winner between these 2, and the winner is Simba. All right, Simba is the clear winner between these 2 units. So we'll go ahead and start with Simba, because I think that's the one that everyone is probably most interested in. He is a shield striker and a green striker. This is a sort of a unique thing. We've never seen a unit that actually has 2 different strikers in their kit. And I like this. It makes him a lot more flexible. We only have 1 other shield striker in the game, and that's Engineer Donald. So if you missed out on Engineer Donald and you have been looking for a shield striker to add to your toolbox, I think Simba is a great choice. Simba also gets the increased attack stats that we saw with Moana. So like I said, when Moana came out, Moana is going to start this new meta of DPS units with the increased attack stats, and Simba is following suit. So he has the higher attack stats like Moana does, which automatically puts him head and shoulders above every other DPS unit as far as raw damage potential is concerned. One of the nice improvements that Simba makes on Moana is that he has higher base HP and higher base defense, so he's less of a glass cannon. However, you will notice that does come at a cost of a little bit of raw damage potential, because he does not start with an immense modifier like Moana does, and his EX skill only has a massive modifier as opposed to an immense modifier. Immense is the highest damage level you can get so far in the game. Massive is just a step below that. Now Simba does get an immense modifier at LB2, but his EX skill remains at massive damage. So that is what keeps him just below Moana's level, and that's sort of the trade-off that you're getting for the increased bulkiness. His damage is slightly lower than Moana's. Now, of course, if you're up against a green striker or a green weak enemy, then Simba is going to pull ahead, of course, because he has that green striker on his EX skill. His EX skill is also much easier to activate than Moana's, in my opinion, especially if you have Jewel Guardian Genie, which most people probably have. I think most people probably picked up Genie in the tutorial gacha. You almost certainly have him at this point. You probably have him at LB1 or LB2. And so it's very easy to hit that attack and evasion buff to get his EX skill proccing pretty much every turn. And there's no HP requirement, which I love. So, you know, even if he's about to die, as long as you have that attack and evasion buff at level 3 or higher, he's going to proc that EX skill. So he's got incredible free damage potential, which I love to see on DPS units. Like I said, the shield striker is nice when you're up against bosses that have shields. Of course, the current rescue signal boss does use a shield, of course, because they want you to pick up Simba to chew through the shield. But we're also noticing shields on pretty much all of the very hard stage bosses. Like if you go to chapter 1 and do the very hard stages, pretty much all the bosses use shields now. And some of them use shields like every turn. So having a unit like Simba with a shield striker could be very, very helpful, especially when we start getting very hard stages released for the other chapters. I would assume that shields are going to become more and more common, and thus shield strikers are going to become more and more meta later on in the game. So picking up Simba, definitely not a bad choice. I have, as you can see, I've already done 42 pulls on this unit. I have pulled one copy so far. I'm very excited. So I'm going to have at least an LB1 by the time I reach Pity. If, you know, maybe I'll get super lucky and I'll pull another copy. I've just been doing, I pretty much used all my free lapis that we got. We got a crap ton of free lapis, I keep saying lapis, free crystals. That's my FFBE speaking. We got a lot of free crystals this week from the event, from the login bonuses and everything. So I basically just burned them all, and I've been doing my once a day pulls with the little bit of paid lapis that I have left. Paid crystals. And so me personally, I love this unit. I want to pick him up because I don't have a shield striker. I don't have Engineer Donald. So I'm looking to pick up Simba so that I have a shield striker in my toolbox for future use. Now, if you get him to LB1, he picks up a level 2 crit chance buff to all allies, which is really nice. This actually goes really well with Moana. So if you did pick up Moana, you may remember Moana has the crit power buff to all allies, and Simba has a crit chance buff to all allies. So if you have both of these units, you can potentially drop a crit buffer, or if you don't have a crit buffer like Belle, for example, this is a great opportunity to actually get your crit buffs from 2 very competent DPS units. So level 2 crit buff at LB1, at LB2, that goes up to a level 3 crit chance buff, and he gets the immense modifier on his skill. All right, and then obviously at LB3, you get the reduced cost. Okay, so all in all, I think Simba is a really solid unit. He's not a necessary unit. All right, you don't need shield strikers in this game to beat the game or anything like that. But Simba is a very, very strong unit. So if you do have the crystals lying around, definitely consider pulling for this unit. If you have Engineer Donald, however, you may feel less inclined to pick up Simba because our Engineer Donald is also a very, very good shield striker, very strong damage dealer in his own right, and a very good shield striker. So you may be less inclined to pick up Simba. Also, I would say if you don't have a good evasion buffer on your party, pretty much everybody has an attack buffer of some kind. But if you don't have a good evasion buffer in your party, like an LB1 or LB2 Genie, or like an LB2 Honey Farm Pooh, for example. If you don't have a good evasion buffer on your team, I don't think Simba's going to fit well. Because you need to have both the attack and the evasion buffs. But like I said, bring in a unit like Genie at LB1 or LB2. You should be able to rock and roll with Simba as much as you want. All right. So yeah, my recommendation, Simba, really, really good. He is top tier in my opinion. So I have updated the Disney Compendium. I've also updated my DPS spreadsheet with Simba in it. He is currently number 2, just behind Moana, as far as DPS is concerned. So very, very strong unit as well. Now, sadly, Timon is, while, I think they did a really good job on the sprites, by the way. I'll go ahead and say that. I think all the sprites on all 3 of these units look really good, so I'm very pleased about the sprite design. But Timon's kit is unfortunately a bit lacking. Now, I will say he's probably the best tank unit that we have in the game, with the exception of maybe Singer Beast. Singer Beast is probably a better tank, just because I think he can kind of switch a little bit better. And he's got a lot more going on for him. Timon, unfortunately, I think is a bit lacking. And there are a few things that I really don't like about his kit. I'll talk about the things I do like, however. He's got high HP, high defense, which is what you want from a provoke tank. The other thing I really like is that his taunt lasts for 5 turns. So you cast it on turn 1, and then you can just defend with him for the next 4 turns, which is basically what you want in a taunt unit. He also brings some evasion, which is good because, if there's a lot of single target attacks, he'll hopefully evade most of them instead of actually taking the hits. If you get him to LB1, he also gains an attack buff, which is really nice. So you can see how they want you to pick up Timon in order to go along with Simba, because at LB2, he can proc Simba's EX skill, right? Now, the problem is if you have Genie, you don't really need Timon to proc his EX skill. And frankly, the biggest drawback, in my opinion, is Timon's EX skill. Right? His EX skill is when at 80% or more HP, deal massive damage to one enemy. To me, this is useless. Because if he's your provoke tank, then he's the one that's supposed to be taking the damage for your team, right? He's supposed to be taking all the damage for your team. So why would you put an HP restriction on his EX skill when he's the one that's going to be taking all the damage? It really, really doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and in my opinion, that is a huge drawback. They should have made the requirement on his EX something totally different, like just having a defense buff or something like that. This is a bit ridiculous. I don't think that is a good design choice right there, and that is probably the biggest drawback to Timon. Another big drawback is that, honestly, provoke tanks just aren't all that necessary. They're, of course, trying to make you feel like a provoke tank is necessary to beat the current boss, because the current boss does do a lot of single-target, very strong attacks that can easily wipe out your units, and so you may be thinking, oh man, I need Timon to provoke these single target attacks that are wiping out my units. And there are other ways to get around it, just bringing defense buffers, doing using like a turtle team where you're just defending your units and relying on your EX skills to do a majority of the damage. There are a lot of ways to get around that as opposed to bringing a taunt unit. So honestly, I don't really see a place for Timon in the game right now. Taunt units may be more and more useful later on. I don't know, but currently we're not really seeing a place for taunt units in the game. So I really cannot recommend Timon at this moment. If it looks like later on taunt units become more and more prevalent, he might get an upgrade. But for now, I don't really see any use in pulling for Timon other than the fact that he's got a very cute sprite. All right. So in my opinion, if you're trying to choose between one of these two, Simba is the obvious choice here. All right. So that is my review of these units. Now let's talk a little bit about the rescue signal event. Let's go ahead and pop in here. I'll do a few different clears for you. Just like it has been in the past, it's a 2-week event. So you got 2 weeks to try and clear out everything. You can do the normal map and the hard map right away, right from the beginning. I always just go straight, I do the normal map, do the normal boss, and then, I collect I usually collect the freebie unit, which in this case is Pumba. I get him as soon as I hit 400 medals. I pick him up, and then, I start picking up the medals from the blue shop. I've still got the more expensive one left to do. I've been doing the hard shop a little bit more, and what I usually do is I save the normal for when I'm just farming. If I want to do some auto farming, then I just hop in the normal boss and I just auto farm it because the normal boss is super easy. I'll show you the team that I use to auto farm it. So here's my auto farm team for level 10 normal, and we'll just pop in here and I'll just show you. So this one's very, very simple. The boss is not very hard at all. Very easy to farm it up. Now, obviously, with my Simba and Pumba, I'm able to collect a lot more rewards. Here, I'm just using, 2 green strikers, Aladdin and Peter Pan. Obviously, if you don't have Aladdin or Peter Pan, just put your best DPS units in there. It's not going to take you very long to beat this thing. Okay. Now, you only get 500 coins for the level 10, so it does take a little bit longer to farm the level 10. But honestly, yeah, all I'm looking for is I'm looking for those Pumba medals. I may come back later and pick up like Justice Orbs and Kindness Orbs if I'm able to clear out the hard shop. But yeah, so the only thing I'm really striving for in the normal shop is the Pumba medals first, and then I'm going to go clear out the hard shop. And then if I've got time at the end, I'll go back and clear out the normal shop. All right, that's my prerogative right there. But yeah, definitely Pumba medals should be your first order of business. Get those first before you get anything else because you want that. You want the bonus for the bonus for your rescue signal points. There are also a lot of good missions that are tied to RS points. They're giving away limit break stones again for hitting the point levels. I like that they've actually added how many limit break stones it takes to increase a rarity now for the different star levels. They didn't used to have that before, so I'm glad to see that. So it now tells you for a 1-star unit, it takes 10 limit break stones. For a 2-star unit, it takes 15 limit break stones. And for a 3-star unit, it takes 20 limit break stones. I'm really glad they added that. Another thing I'm glad that they've done is they've added picks. They've added picks to the event rewards. This is fantastic because I think they've realized just how lacking this game is in picks and how important picks have become now that picks are required for crafting the wisdom orbs and for crafting the super pixels. I need a lot of picks because I really want to get my Simba to 6-star as soon as possible and start leveling him up with those super pixels. So I think that in total you get 5 limit break stones. I'm not sure what the total number of picks is. I want to say it's probably close to like 10,000 picks, I think, if you get all of them from the rewards. And they also give you some pixel bond, which is nice, and some limit break stone fragments, so you can craft some more limit break stones. So I'm hoping I'll be able to craft another 20 limit break stones, or not craft another 20, but I'm hoping with the rewards we get here, plus the 5 that I'll get when I pity my my duplicate of Simba, because I'll get 5 from limit breaking Simba one time. I'm hoping I'll be able to craft close to 10 more limit break stones, and I might be able to get my Simba an extra limit break that way. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So definitely make sure you hit the, I think it's 300,000 points is the final reward. So trying to hit that 3,000 total RS points is a good strategy. You also get Pixel Bond from just getting your Pumba limit broken all up. So I'm not sure what the total number of Pixel Bond is for getting him all up to LB max, but you know, every little bit counts. And then yeah, you get a Wisdom Orb fragment for getting him to max, I guess, which is, you know, whatever. I've got 69 Wisdom Orb fragments, so I'm not hurting on the Wisdom Orb fragments at all. All right, let's take a look at the hard boss. So depending on your level, you may be able to auto farm some of the lower levels. I think I was able to auto farm up to level. I think I was able to auto farm level 9. Maybe it was level 8. We'll try level 8 first. I think I was able to auto farm up to level 9 though. I can't really. Honestly I've been manually farming level 10, just because you get the most bang for your buck there. But we'll try autoing. Yeah, we'll try autoing level 8. I'm pretty sure I was able to do it just because I have the 2 green strikers. And so we'll see. Pumbaa's really great on auto teams because if you have 3 people attacking, he'll do that auto heal, which is really nice. All right, let's see if I'm able to actually get this one done. I'm pretty sure I was able to do it. I guess it depends a lot on whether or not the people get nuked, and if he decides to target like specific people. Yeah, I'm not too worried about if Simba gets eaten. I just want my green strikers to stay alive. But yeah, you see the boss does do a lot of single target attacks. So having evasion definitely helps in that case. So yeah, I'm able to do level 8. That's pretty good. I'm not sure if the team is able to auto level 9 or not. But yeah, if not, I'll show you my how I manual level 10. I might do a couple of teams on level 10 just to show you how that gets done. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can actually auto level 9. I don't know if I will be able to. I'll be very interested to see. Oh, I hate that. I hate when he does the magic wings, the AoE attack. But at least he didn't. At least he did not have the attack buff yet. It's really bad when he does magic wings after his attack buff, because it's a 100% attack buff. Ooh, now that could really screw me right there. Actually, that could be bad. Yeah, we'll see. Oh man, yeah, he's just going to town on us now. This could be bad. We'll see if Aladdin can bring it home. Bring it home, Aladdin. Come on. You can do it. Oh no, not the magic wings. Oh no, come on, Aladdin. You can do it. You can do it. Bring it home. Oh no. All right. So yeah, level 8 might be as high as I can auto. But that's fine. Now let's do level 10. I'll show you the team that I use to manual farm it. All right. So yeah, we're using Genie to proc Simba's EX skill. We've got Doofy, of course, for the attack buff. I'm bringing both bonus units. You know, Pumbaa's useful for healing, so might as well bring him. And then obviously we've got Belle there for our crit buffs. If you don't have Belle, I recommend bringing someone like Honey Farm Pooh, who can just give you some extra defense buffs. That can be really, really useful against this boss, because this boss does hit pretty hard. Here, my units are a high enough level that I can just rely on Genie's damage reduction in order to survive. But if you're having trouble surviving, then definitely I would recommend swapping out Belle and putting in a defense buffer like Honey Farm Pooh. Also, his regens will really help you survive as well. So, Yeah, survival is the sort of the key to this one, right? And the boss does hit really hard, so having both damage reduction and defense buffs can be really, really helpful if you're having trouble surviving. But if you're like me and you've got units with high levels and high LB levels that have high defense going into the fight already, you'll probably be all right. All right, let's get in here and let's see how we get this done. All right, so first of all, I'm going to start with guarding. We're just building up some SP to get going, and we're going to stack up our buffs. We want to build up our SP, and yeah, I always aim for that guy first to take out the defense buff, or sorry, the attack breaker, because if you don't kill him, he attack breaks your party, which just makes things take longer. All right, so we're just going to go ahead and do the same thing. Defend with everybody else to generate some SP. Okay, now I'm going to attack because our buffs are fully stacked, so we don't need to do buffs anymore. I'm going to use Doofy to do an attack boost, and I'm going to have everybody else attack. You notice I'm guarding with Simba. That's because he's only LB0, and I really don't want him to get nailed, because if the boss decides to do a single target attack on Simba, it could really, really hurt. So I'm leaving him defended for now. And since he's going to proc his EX, and his EX is the thing with the green striker on it anyways, I don't really care about using his skill. Okay, so this should also generate a good healthy amount of SP for us going into the next fight, so we can redo our buffs while also using our skills, our attack skills. Okay. All right, so now Simba gets to shine with his shield striker. Now keep in mind he is LB0, so it's not going to look super impressive, but this is where you want to use his skill when the boss has a shield up, because it will do considerably more damage. I believe right now we're calculating the shield striker to be about a 2.5 times modifier, so it's similar to like doing an immense modifier on top of his already massive modifier. So it's definitely a strong skill when a boss has a shield up. Okay. Okay, so we're going to use our SP skill. All right, and yeah, we're going to run. I'm going to guard with Simba, because again, at this point, when the boss has no shield, I don't care about using his skill, because his EX skill is what has the green striker on it. So I want to guard him. I want to make sure he survives no matter what. And so guarding him to make sure that he can get his EX skill off every turn is going to be pretty critical. I'm going to heal with Pumbaa because, as you can see, Simba is looking a little bit worse for wear there. Okay, and you see, look, he hit Simba twice there. If I hadn't been guarding with Simba, the first one would have killed him. I mean, the first one would have just knocked him out cold. But since we have Genie's damage reduction plus the damage reduction from defending, he's good. He's golden. All right, so at this point, we are solid. We can just, honestly, Doofy can just do a skill, and that'll kill him. All right, so there we go. We've taken the boss out in 4 turns. All right. Easy peasy. Now let's say that you don't have, Belle, and you don't have Simba, but maybe you have someone like Aladdin, right? So you can still. So let's do let's do a little bit of a. Let's try a different team here that doesn't rely on like Simba. We could even take. Maybe I'll do it without any 6-star units as well. How about that? Who else could I bring in here? Who could I swap in here? Maybe like, I guess I could bring Peter Pan. Yeah. Or I could bring who else could I bring? Oh, I could do what about Stitch? Yeah, that way we still get some crit buffs. Yeah, we could still bring Stitch for it as a crit buffer maybe. And then we could bring Pumba, but how about we do we'll have regen already from maybe we'll bring, I tell you what, let's bring yeah, let's bring Marie so that we have a an SP. Yeah, an SP unit. How about that? All right, so let's try this. And this is going to be a bit of a turtle team, right? So this is just like a level 10 clear. If you don't have Belle, you don't have, you know, Simba. If you do have Simba, but you don't have Aladdin, you can still use this strategy, because what I'm basically going to do is a sort of a turtle team strategy here with Aladdin. All right, and I'm going to be guarding with Aladdin a lot. And just sort of making sure that actually, oh, that reminds me, I need to have a healer to make sure that he stays above HP or 80% HP. So let's just bring in a healer here. Maybe even well, let's see. I want to bring. Who should I bring? Let's bring Magic Minnie, because she's a freebie, right? So she's a free healer. Or I guess I could bring. All right, let's just bring Pumbaa. We've got Pumbaa. Let's not assume you have any of the other units. All right, let's just bring Pumbaa. Why not? Let's get a little bonus while we're at it. Okay, I got the team. Let's get in here and let's do it. All right, so we're going to skill with these guys. We're going to defend with everybody else. Again, you're going to target this guy here. Okay. All right. Now we're going to skill again, but this time I'm going to go ahead and do, actually, you know what? No, I'm not going to do that with Aladdin. Let's go ahead and make sure that we have full SP going into the next fight, because we're going to kill these guys anyways. So basically we're just stacking up all our buffs. We're going to go ahead and get a full SP gauge here. All right. We're ready to rock and roll now. Okay, so we don't need to buff with these guys. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and skill with Aladdin, but then after this, I'll probably just be doing, I'll just be defending pretty much every turn. But I'm just going to go ahead and skill to get the green striker out of the way. Okay, thankfully he did not hit Aladdin on that one. Okay, so now we're gonna skill everybody. We're gonna go ahead and heal with Pumbaa. And yeah, let's just go ahead and skill everybody, because we gotta chew through the shield anyways. So might as well take advantage of our green striker. Okay, so thankfully we've got that evasion up. All right, noticing that Pooh got tagged on that one, so I'm gonna defend with him, and I'm gonna skill with. I'm actually gonna defend with Aladdin on this one. All right, we're gonna heal up. We're gonna do another damage reduction buff. We're going to guard with Aladdin so that we're just taking advantage of his green striker on his EX skill. Wow, that was harsh. All right, so he just took out Pumbaa. This could be a problem now. All right, so let's go ahead and knock this guy out of rage mode. Okay. All right, yeah, let's just go ahead and wait. Our buffs are probably maxed, yeah? All right, we need to do another defense buff. That's cool. So we don't need to do anything with Genie. So let's just have him do a normal attack. And we can even attack with Marie at this point. Because honestly, we've got plenty of SP. We're not in any SP trouble at this point. Oh no, not magic wings. All right. So he's tagged Aladdin there, so Aladdin's not going to get his EX skill, unfortunately, unless we ramp up some regen. So let's see. We probably have full regen, huh? All right, it's 20. It's 20%. Okay, so. All right, I'm gonna guard. And we're going to rely on, we're going to let the regen fill us up. Oh, I'm going to guard here. All right, we're going to go ahead. We got to re-up our damage reduction. We want to make sure that we're keeping all of our defenses fully stacked. Okay, so Aladdin should definitely be above 80%. I wish they would show us what it actually is. Yeah, that looks like it's above 80. Okay, I'm going to continue defending with him, however. All right, we just need him to be above 80. All right. All right, let's use this. What's our damage reduction looking like? All right, we still need to do damage reduction, and let's go. I'm going to go ahead and just attack with Marie. Honestly, SP, I probably shouldn't have even bothered bringing Marie. We're doing fine on SP. All right, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Oh, the shield. Yep, there's the shield. All right, that's okay. We're gonna get through this thing. All right, do I need to re-up damage reduction? No, I don't. So we're going full turtle mode now. All right, full turtle mode at this point. All right, we do need to re-up our defense. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do a skill just so we can try and chew through this. Actually, I probably shouldn't. Nah, I really shouldn't. Because at this point, we can't have Aladdin die on us. So we just got to make sure we're keeping up his skill. I'm not using the miracle ability because I'm saving that for in case Pooh dies for some reason, and then I need it for that level 3 regen. Okay. All right, so we should be able to defend with Pooh now. Yep. So Pooh gets to defend this turn so that he can heal up. We re-up our damage reduction, and we're just going full turtle mode at this point. Oh, you hit Aladdin twice. What a jerk. All right, so we got to do both on this turn, don't we? All right, both buffs. That's fine. Now I could take this opportunity to just, use Aladdin's skill, but let's not take the chance, right? Let's not take the chance. Hey, we beat him. We beat him with Pooh, anyways. Very cool. All right, so that's a bit of a slower roll on killing the boss. Not using high level 6-star units or whatever. You could also do a similar strategy with Simba if you have Simba in place of Aladdin. All right, so that's just an example of a bit of a turtle team chewing through this one. Obviously, it takes a lot longer than my stronger team, but that's just what it's going to be. All right, so that's pretty much it for the Rescue Signal event. I will say they made a few changes to Pocket Adventure. I'll just cover those real quick. I'm not actually going to do a run. It's still the slowed down version from the last one. So they've still done that. They haven't added anything new to the exchange shop. So exchange shop is still the same. Nothing new there. The changes that they've made, however, are that if you fall into a pit, it's not instant death. You just lose 2 of your 2 hearts. You know how you have like 3 hearts for your health bar, and you know, if you like bump into a wall, you lose a heart, right? Well, if you fall off the edge and you still have 3 hearts, then you won't die immediately. You will not immediately die. It'll just take you back to the last big palm tree, which is sort of what they use to denote the beginning of every obstacle. And so they'll just sort of take you to the beginning of the last obstacle, and you'll start from there just with 2 hearts taken out of your life bar. So that's a new change, which I think is really good. Also, another change they made is that if you do bump into an object, you have a moment of invincibility, so that if you bump into like the same object immediately afterwards, you don't immediately lose another heart. This is really useful if you get like kind of stuck in between like a box and a wall, which can sometimes happen, and it can sometimes cause you to just like lose hearts one right after the other, because you can't jump out of it fast enough, basically. So you kind of get trapped in between a box and a wall. Now with this invincibility, it gives you a better opportunity to kind of jump out of those little traps like that. So that's the only thing they've really done with the Pocket Adventure that has improved it. So that's all I wanted to cover on that one. This has been a super long video. If you're still watching, thank you so much for following me. And yeah, good luck in the rescue signal. Good luck with your pulls if you're pulling for Simba. I'm very excited to have picked him up, and hopefully you are too. So thank you guys so much for following me, and I will see you on the other side.